Salutations, fellow nerds. I'm Rick Y, and today is October 20th, 2025. This weekend was fantastic, and apparently it triggered a few of you. So let's talk about it, because discussion, not shouting, is how people who disagree can still understand one another. So let's go over the meaning of the march, because the No King's March wasn't about thinking that we have a king. It was a message to the executive that we won't tolerate one. His actions have been overreaching. He's burning through taxpayer dollars like the Treasury is his personal piggy bank, and there's no doubt about that. What most people don't realize is that the majority of protesters weren't blue-haired Antifa. They were retired veterans, people who've served this country and still believe in it enough to come out and speak up. This was civic engagement at its finest, and yet some of you insist that it didn't matter. Funny how people will argue for hours about how much something didn't matter. You know who you are. And here's the thing. During Biden's term, there were protests too. None of them ever reached the size and scale of what happened this weekend, and none of them were waved off or dismissed. But back then, those were praised as important exercises of free speech. Now suddenly, peaceful protest is mob behavior. Please. It's the same people who said Obama caused the 2013 shutdown who are now saying that Democrats caused this one. There's no consistency here, only noise. So here's what the No King's March really did. It deflated the narrative that the left is inherently violent. On the contrary, the left just showed you the largest and most peaceful protest in American history. It might even turn out to be larger than some earlier estimates assumed. The conservative boogeyman, that fear-mongering caricature of chaos, got completely decapitated by disgusted boomers and dancing balloon animals. Meanwhile, you get one MAGA protest too close to the Capitol, and suddenly the government has to shut down in an emergency and people are shitting on the walls. And somehow that's the Democrats' fault too. Go figure. So here's a reality check. Let's ask some questions and be honest with yourself. Do you think or believe that Americans are inherently better than other people or cultures? Do you think that we should be an exclusively Christian nation? Do you believe everyone who disagrees with Trump is an enemy of the state? Do you think Trump should have a third term regardless of what the Constitution says? Do you think it's right for him to target political opponents without probable cause? Do you think immigrants should lose their right to both due process and probable cause as well? Do you think it's okay for the president to order the killings in the Caribbean without confirming any crimes? Do you support him placing targeted groups into camps for removal? If you answered yes to most or all of those, congratulations, you've just checked every box in the definition of fascism. And if you excuse those actions, you're only enabling it. And I get it. Illegal immigrants are breaking the law. But so are Jewish people in Nazi Germany. That's not the flex that you think it is. And I hate to remind my libertarian friends, but the state doesn't define morality for me. I try to live as a responsible member of society, but I'm not going to worship power just because it holds a badge or an office. It's not the violent left that's trying to insult you. We're just calling a spade a spade. When the troops deployed against American citizens go home at the request of governors being ignored by Washington, then we can talk nuance. When the president starts listening to judges instead of defying them, when ICE troops stop abducting people without due process, then we can discuss whether things have gone too far. But until then, I'm done entertaining all of the lazy whataboutism. So let me give you the truth of the power of peaceful defiance. Because 7 million people showed up peacefully to say, we don't agree. Imagine how many more quietly applauded on the sidelines. And to the so-called silent majority, what happens when the streets fill with people who aren't silent anymore? Do you still call them irrelevant? Or do you finally start listening? Because we see the game. You push the buttons until we react, and then you blame us for responding. It's classic abuser logic. But JFK said it best. Those who make peaceful revolution impossible make violent revolution inevitable. And I'm not calling for violence. I find it abhorrent. Violence is what bootlickers resort to when they can't accept election results. Violence is what happens when you back a theocracy into genocide because it waves the same Judeo-Christian flags that you do. And it's not just being ridiculed for expressing people's First Amendment rights that causes desperation. Let's recap. The government is shut down. The House Speaker refuses to call Congress back into session to avoid swearing in a duly elected Democrat. He happily swore in Republicans under identical conditions. Why? To dodge a discharge petition that would force a vote on the Epstein documents. Meanwhile, inflation is up, wages are flat, and farms are being bailed out because we're pouring billions into foreign agriculture. America first, am I right? Trump's peace in the Middle East just collapsed within days. The West Bank is under theocratic military occupation, and now he's floating the Insurrection Act. Again, lying about its history, setting us up for martial law. But hey, yeah, no. Let's talk about Hillary Clinton. So let's make something abundantly clear. I'm not a Democrat. I'm not a Republican. I'm a secular humanist and a veteran who took an oath to a document, not a man. There is no place for fascism here in America, and I will vote for a corrupt Democrat over a fascist every single day of the week, because at least corruption can be prosecuted. Fascism kills the system that allows justice to exist. All this chaos in Trump's first year isn't even over yet. So before you go spiraling into my comments asking what side I'm on, remember, I stand with the Constitution. I stand with democracy, and I stand with human decency. If you want to abandon that to own the libs, that's on you. Let's just hope history remembers you for who you wanted to be and not who you became. Because a lot of you out there could use a refresher on both our laws and the entire book of Matthew. Anyway, y'all come back now. You hear?